Wednesday. Kim, my favorite day of the week. You're joining us for session number 16. Today we're going to be talking about launching with pay-per-click ads. Kim, how's it going today?
Hey, Greg. Nice to see you again. Really happy to be here.
I'm excited to see you again as well. Give us a quick rundown what the $1 million case study is.
Okay, so we are launching products on Amazon. So we're finding profitable products to sell on Amazon. We're documenting every single step of the journey so that you guys can learn from it. And we are donating all of the profits to charity, to a charity called Pencils of Promise.
So at this point, we've done close to $500,000 worth of sales in our first two products, which are Jungle Sticks and Hooded Baby Towels. Kim's getting ready to launch the third product. Hopefully you're following along with the entire journey. If not, you can go back and check out towards the beginning, because today we're going to be talking specifically about Amazon pay-per-click. With that being said, I'm going to share my screen, go ahead and get started. And like I said, this is session number 16. Real quick, every week we do a giveaway, junglescott.com/giveaway. We give away free licenses to our products and t-shirts, and as well as you get featured on our website. These are a few of the winners for this particular week, and our social media manager will reach out to you guys to make sure you get hooked up with your free web app and pro extension. Jess submitted a really nice photo here of their daughter, and as well as a lot of the boxes in the background. Looks like they're following along with the $1 million case study, and they're getting started as well, which is really exciting. So Kim, give us a little, we see these nice pictures here of the sleeping bags. Give us a quick update.
Yep, so the sleeping bags are all manufactured now, and these images that you see are the latest updated images I've had from my supplier. And the other update is that the sample that was shipped direct to my photographer in the UK has now arrived, and they've already started on doing the product photography. So I'm hoping to see some of that probably this week, actually, and then they're going to start on the lifestyle images once they've done the product images. So that's really exciting too. So I can start to add that to the, along with the copy that I've written for the product listing. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy. They look really amazing. Obviously, I haven't felt it with my hands, but in the pictures, they look really high quality, and I'm really pleased with the outcome.
Yeah, I like this bag a lot too. Like the bottoms, the blue color. But also has kind of like the gray on the sides. To me, it looks kind of like a pretty tough, heavy duty, almost like maybe like military grade with a little bit of the green strap there. I think they look nice, and the hang tag as well.
Yep, yeah, I think it looks really great. I'm really, really happy with it.
Cool, neat. So yeah, that's a little bit of an update. We have hit a little bit of a snag in the process, and it's only fair for us if we share some of the struggles or hardships as well. It's taking us a lot longer than expected to get our account approved by Amazon. They ask, for, like who owns the business and some more information, this and that and the other thing. And for whatever reason, it seems like we're just kind of like stuck in this loop where they'll like ask us the same piece of information again and again. And then sometimes it's like 2 or 3 days before we hear back from them. So a process that was supposed to take like less than 5 days now is going on like 20, 25 days. So it's frustrating, especially because there's not much we can do about it. We feel like our hands are tied, and we're just like, Amazon's, for some reason, looks like we're kind of like lost in the system. So we're patiently waiting for that, and we're being as annoying as we can to try to hopefully move our kind of like application up in the process. I don't know if this time of year, since it's getting close to the holidays, they're like more backlogged or there's some kind of bug or what, but our Amazon account actually hasn't been approved yet. I'm sure it will, but that is slowing down the process a little bit, because we were expecting to have our listing set up and created, in the FN SKU printed out to give to the factory today. But there's not too much we can do about it. But yeah, I wanted to share that if you guys experience something similar. Don't get discouraged. You just have to kind of keep plugging along with it. So yeah, Kim, talk to us a little bit today about what we're going to be covering.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about Amazon PPC, that's Amazon pay-per-click advertising. So this is a form of marketing strategy that you can use to sell more products. And so we're going to be kind of talking about the basics. So setting up your first campaigns, taking a look at the different types of campaigns that you can create within Amazon PPC. And then a little deeper look into the campaign structure, how it actually works, so you can gain a better understanding of that. and how much you should bid, or at least a rough guide of that. So these are the basics, but it's still going to be quite comprehensive. So you're able to get started and set up some PPC campaigns, and then we can look into the more advanced stuff at a later date.
Yeah, I know PPC's, I think, kind of like intimidating for a lot of people. They think it's difficult and very technical. And just so you guys know, PPC's, pay per click, so these are sponsored ads on Amazon. But I just want to let you guys know, like, first of all, if you don't even know what you're going to sell on Amazon yet, this isn't the right episode for you to be watching right now. I'd encourage you to go back to the beginning, look at the product research and how to find that product and stuff. You can worry about things like PPC, like while your product's being manufactured or you're waiting for it to be shipped into the Amazon warehouse. So it's definitely not required. We are going to be using it because it is very, very beneficial. And I'll also just say that Amazon's PPC platform is actually very simple once you learn how to use it. It's much less intimidating than, say, Google AdWords or Facebook ads. It's much simpler, as you'll learn throughout today's session. And I'll let you look over my shoulder as I'm creating one of these or a few of these campaigns to make sure you know exactly how I do it, so you can replicate it yourself. So the nice things about Amazon's PPC is it's pretty easy to get set up. It's a low barrier of entry. If you have a professional seller's account, which all of you guys will, it's available to everyone. And as you'll see, it's relatively easy to set up. Amazon, in my opinion, is the best place to be showing ads because these customers are there with their credit card saved in and they're in the purchase mentality. They're ready to buy something. When you're showing ads to people on Facebook, it's like, yeah, they're there to look at cat photos. You're kind of like interrupting their flow by trying to sell them something, right? Whereas on Amazon, these are purchase-ready shoppers. It's relatively inexpensive compared to a lot of platforms. And one of the other huge benefits about doing it is you actually get real Amazon keyword data, which is not available anywhere else. And I'll show you a little bit later what I mean by that. But you get to see exactly what a customer typed into the search bar when they were shown your ads. You can learn a little bit more about what the customers are searching for, what they're calling your product, and then you can use that down the road to further optimize your particular listing. Can you put this nice funnel diagram on this slide? Why don't you talk us through this one?
Okay, yeah. So this is just kind of reiterating your point there, Greg, of the fact that people on Amazon are there ready to purchase. So this is an illustration of that. It's a sort of a generic marketing funnel. So you've got awareness at the top, and then consideration, purchase, and retention. And people who are browsing on Amazon are already in at least the consideration phase. If not, they're looking for something actively to purchase it. So this, it just makes it more cost effective and much easier really to get higher conversion rates and more sales, as opposed to advertising somewhere like Google where people search for all manner of things. So yeah, this is just an example of that in marketing terms.
Thanks. And I guess one of the other nice things that this screenshot here kind of iterates is that using Amazon's pay-per-click platform is actually the only place you can drive paid ads to Amazon and be able to track the results and the sales from it. There are some kind of hacky ways to do it with other platforms, but they don't really work that well. Where with Amazon's ad platform, it's very easy to see, how much money you're spending in relation to the amount of sales that you're getting. On this particular screenshot, there's two different types of ads here that I kind of wanted to show. These bottom two, I'm sorry, you can't see my cursor, but these bottom two where it says the little sponsor thing, those are using the sponsored ads or the typical or general Amazon PPC platform where we're just bidding on particular keywords and match types. And that's where they show up here. And with those, you don't even have to give any type of image or write any sales copy or anything else. This top one here, this is actually called a headline ad, which is a little bit different. I don't know for sure if we'll have enough time to cover headline ads in today's session. But with headline ads, it's a little bit more complicated because you do have to select an image and write a little bit of sales copy. And by that, I mean, in this example, what the person wrote was warm, dry, and great value for the money, job done. that is something that you have to come up with and write. It's pretty easy since it is just a short little snippet. But for the two below that, all you have to do is just bid on the keywords. So when we're talking about Amazon Sponsored Ads Platform, or PPC, there's two different types of targeting. I'm going to give you examples and a walkthrough of each. But the first type is automatic targeting. And this is very much the easiest way to get started. It's the easiest type of campaign to create because literally all you have to do is select your product, tell Amazon how much you want to bid per click, and your bid per click and your budget for the day. And Amazon essentially handles the rest. So they analyze your particular listing. They decide which keywords they think are relevant for your particular listing. And they show your ad to those customers when they make a search. The benefits here is it's very easy to set up. You get a good idea of what Amazon thinks your product is, which is an important thing to know, especially for product optimization. And this is also valuable because Amazon shows you all of the search terms that customers had when they search for your particular product. So that's one type of targeting. The other type of targeting is a little bit more difficult to set up. It's still very easy. This is manual targeting, and instead of letting Amazon decide which keywords to show your particular product for, instead they let you choose the keywords, and you can bid on different keywords specifically. So maybe we could say, okay, sleeping bags, that is a very relevant keyword for our particular product, so we're willing to bid a little bit more. Whereas camping gear, it's like, okay, that's not quite as relevant for our particular product. Those people might not actually be after a sleeping bag, but we'd be still willing to bid like 25 cents for that because it's still relatively qualified traffic. And again, I'm going to give you both examples of both of these, so don't get overwhelmed. I'll let you, by the end of this, you'll have a good idea of how to do all this. So kind of as we discussed, the automatic campaign is very easy. You just set the daily budget, the start and end date, and then also you would select how much you want to bid for it. With all of these, you'll kind of see when you watch over my shoulder, but you select which products you want to be in the ad group. You set your bid for each one, and an important thing to note that's shown in this slide is the reporting, specifically with the sales reporting, is at least 24 hours, but probably closer to 48 hours. And they tell you this in the platform. So a lot of things or something that I see happen to beginners a lot is they'll set up an ad campaign. They'll let it run for like 4 days. They'll be spending $50 a day. So about 4 days later, they've spent $200. And it will say that they only have like one sale, and they panic right away, and so they pause it because they think they set it up wrong. But the truth is, you really need to let these things run for like a week or longer to be able to get good information out of them, since the reporting is delayed so much. So if you are very budget sensitive and you don't have very much capital to spend on these PPC ads, what I would recommend for you is to set a lower daily budget so you're not spending too much. But you can still start to see results of kind of like what's working. So that's a very important thing to note. So I'm just gonna let you look over my shoulder real quick, and you can see exactly how to set up one of these ads. So let me adjust the screen. All right. So right now I'm inside the sponsored products campaign section. So you find this by going to advertising and then to campaign manager. So it's this top result, or this top one here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on create campaign. All right. You're going to give your campaign a name. It's best practice, and you'll thank yourself later down the road if you name this something that is kind of like very descriptive. Okay. So for us, let's see, we're going to do, let's say slumber, signify our, jungle slumber sleeping bags. We'll name this automatic. All right, daily budget, we'll just do $20 per day. We're starting this, and then we'll do automatic targeting and continue to the next step. All right, for the particular ad group, For automatic targeting, this isn't quite as important because I'm only going to have one ad group inside of here, so I'm just going to call it automatic. But when we go to manual, this is more important. I'll show you why. So we're going to select the relevant products. So I'm just going to select this one. Select the default bid. Amazon suggested a bid for us. Since we're trying to build up a lot of sales velocity early on when we first launch our Jungle Slumber sleeping bags, I'm actually going to be more aggressive with this bid. So I'm going to go all the way to the top of the range. They recommend $1.66. I'm just going to go ahead and $1.70 because I want to be very aggressive early on to try to get some sales and try to get some data right away from this, okay? Literally, the last thing I have to do is just click save and finish. And now this campaign is live, okay? So you can see how easy it is to set something like that up. I'm going to just pause it real quickly because I don't actually want it running quite yet. But that's how easy it is to set up one of these automatic campaigns. Now, one thing I want to talk to you guys real quick is about the ad auction. So in there, I put my bid as $1.70. That being said, first of all, it is like a CPC type platform, so it's a cost per click. So I'm only charged when someone clicks one of my ads, not when my ad is shown to a customer. So that'd be called like, I'm not charged per impression, only per click. And the other important thing to understand is that how the ad auction works is you're telling Amazon what you're willing to make for your maximum bid. So I bid $1.70. But if my next highest competitor is only like $1.50, then they'll probably charge me like $1.51 when someone clicks on my particular ad. So I'm just showing them the very maximum that I'm willing to pay for a particular click. So that's an important thing to kind of note. So yeah, is there anything I've forgotten there, Kim, that or any questions that you or the chat box has?
I guess the main question that I have is like at this point, like I know you've already mentioned that the data can sometimes take up to 48 hours to start to show. But how long would I want to leave it running at this higher bid? How long will it take to generate the amount of data that I would need? Would it be like, say, a week or longer?
Yeah, good question. So I would definitely let it run for at least a week. It's like the absolute bare minimum would probably be like 3-4 days. Depending on how popular your product is and what your daily budget is, you're going to see like sometimes you get a whole lot of data pretty quickly. Other times it takes quite a bit longer. So that's an important thing to note there. Yeah, real quickly, we could go ahead and look inside of one of my automatic campaigns, and you can kind of see like the information that you get from one. So let's go ahead and click. Let me make this expand my date range here so we have a little bit more data. I'm just going to click on this Jungle Sticks automatic campaign because I know it has a bunch of data in it. So as you can see from this particular automatic campaign, I just selected a random time frame here, but during this time I've gotten close to 200,000 impressions, 557 clicks. I spent $350, and from that I've got 50 orders. So my ACOS, which is my advertising cost of sale, was 26%. So $352 is 26% of $1,338. So that's an important thing to kind of note. I'm not going to show you this to you right at this point, but when we download the search term report, that's where we can see a little bit more granular detail about specifically what people were purchasing for, or what they were searching for when they ended up purchasing. But for now, I'm real quick, just want to show you the manual campaigns first, and then we'll go back and kind of look at a search term report.
Sounds good.
All right. So, when we're starting a brand new product, like we will with Kim's Jungle Slumber sleeping bags, I would recommend creating both an automatic campaign and a manual campaign. So you can either start the manual targeting campaign right away by doing some keyword research, Or if you want, you could wait a few days to get some keywords out of your automatic campaign and then use those. But I'll show you how to do that. So with the so like you saw there in the automatic targeting, you don't have to enter any keywords in that, right? Amazon's the one that's deciding what they think's relevant for our particular product and choosing those keywords for us. With the manual targeting, we do need to do some keyword research. Kim, since you were the one that did most of the keyword research in session 8, is there anything you want to kind of talk to us about real quickly here?
Yeah, so I mean, if you were following along and you saw that session, then it was covered in more detail. So if you want to get more information, make sure you go back and check that out. But basically in this session, we did some keyword research, which would help inform what keywords we wanted to include on the actual Amazon product listing. So that's for our organic ranking. And you can use this exact same keyword research to start with a manual campaign and use those keywords to target with your ads as well. You may want to do a little bit extra research on top of what you've already done, or if you've not done that yet, then now's a good time to get started. The main tool that I use for this is Google's keyword planner. And although that doesn't actually give you accurate results in terms of the average monthly search volume, and also it's not related to Amazon monthly search volume, it gives you a general guide of how keywords relate to each other in terms of how many people search for them. And that's why it's so important to do the automatic campaign, as Greg's just mentioned, because you do get actual Amazon data, which can really help to fuel your manual campaigns as well. So yeah, make sure you go back and check that out if you missed it, and you can utilize that data to start your manual campaigns.
Excellent. So with manual campaign structure, like I said, for the automatic one campaign, the ad group wasn't quite as important. With the manual campaigns, it is going to be important to be like, or you'll thank yourself down the road if you're like a little bit more disciplined and kind of like how you set this up, and I'll show you how to do so. So the campaign, I would recommend for you guys to name what the particular product is, as well as what kind of targeting it is. So, we'll say like Jungle Slumber sleeping bags, manual targeting. And then I normally also say like where I got those particular keywords from. That's how I like to organize my particular ad groups. Campaigns. On the ad group level, those are inside the campaigns. And for there, what I like to do is I like to split up different ad groups for the different types of targeting. So like I'll have one ad group for exact match, one ad group for phrase match, one ad group for broad match. If you don't know what those match types are, don't worry yet. I'll explain that more in a little while. And then inside each of those, you'll have keywords for that particular match type. So it's kind of shown in this diagram here, and it'll make more sense when you watch over my shoulder. But real quick, let's talk about match types first. Kim, I'll let you start with this one. I know you have a good understanding of this.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'll just go through them one by one. So starting with broad match. So this is the sort of the widest range of search. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. So when you set a broad match keyword, your ad can be triggered by a much wider range of search terms that the actual shopper is searching for. So this is because it allows for more variation in what they're searching for. So it could be, and we'll show you some examples in a moment, but it could be words that are related to that keyword rather than the actual words that you're targeting. And this usually means you get higher visibility and hopefully, more sessions, more traffic to your listing. But it does usually cost more money to do this because you're capturing search terms from a much wider variety. So you'd use this generally when you're still in that period where you're trying to mine for more keywords. So maybe you've already ran your automatic campaign and you want to find more keyword opportunities. You can use broad match to do that. It's really useful for that. And then
I'll throw in one thing real quick there, Kim, is that sometimes actually broad match, even after you have a good understanding of what keywords work well, at least I found this to be true, broad match is still the highest performer for some generic or like more generic type keywords. So for example, like again, like camping or like something like that, I could see like that particular word, if we were able to do broad match for a relatively low bid, that could still be like the highest performing for like a generic word like camping, whereas it might not perform as well for like phrase match or exact match for our particular sleeping bag, because people could search for things like sleeping bag for camping large, or something like that, and it might not be triggered by the other ad groups, but it would by broad. So just thought I'd throw that in, but good explanation.
I think another thing that I would say as well is it can help you pick up on like new trends or seasonal things. So
Yeah,
you know, you might start to see people searching for particular things related to the holidays, and then you know you can learn to target that in the future. So it's useful for that too. Yeah. So moving on to phrase match. So this starts to narrow down the search terms that can trigger your ads. So the way this works is that the phrase that you are bidding on must appear in the search term in the order that you have put it in as a keyword. But the shopper could also add words before or after that key term. So if for example I put in as phrase match mummy sleeping bag, somebody could then go in and say ultra light mummy sleeping bag, and it would still trigger a phrase match keyword and show my ad. So this kind of is like a middle ground. It allows you to balance your budget a little, while still capturing a wider range of terms than the next option, which is exact match. So that means that the shopper must search for your exact phrase that you are bidding on. It does allow for things like misspellings and plurals and things like that, but they must search for those exact terms. And usually this is the most cost effective, and you would definitely, with your highest performing keywords, you would definitely want to bid on those in an exact as an exact match keyword, because you know that they perform well, so you want to capture people that are searching for exactly that. Yeah, have I missed anything there, Greg?
No, I don't think so. The one thing I'll just throw in real quick is all broad match, phrase match, and exact match all do allow for plurals or misspellings. They seem to do a pretty good job at understanding like which misspellings are, what misspellings there are. If you can think of a few specific misspellings, you can include those in your keywords if you want, but Amazon does a pretty good job of it. So yeah, I think that's it. So if we just talk big picture real quick here, as you'll see when you watch from my shoulder, these are the three match types that you can use to bid on keywords differently. So you select a keyword and the match type, and then you bid on that combination, kind of as you'll see. But good explanation, thank you. And here's some good examples of it. So the keyword example we're giving here is mummy sleeping bag. So for a broad match type, it would fire on those things that you can see in that column there. So, you know, sleep bag mummy, mummy style sleeping bag. Because keep in mind that you can add additional keywords before, after, or in between of the keyword that you're bidding on. So it wouldn't fire on something like camping stove, camping tent, or whatever, because yeah, those words aren't in our particular keyword. And then, of course, like we said before, you know, it can include, or with the broad match, it can actually include synonyms, all the things listed there. I'm not going to read them out to you. So with phrase match, the important thing to note is that the keyword phrase that you're bidding on needs to stay intact. So you can add words before or after it, but you can't add words in between. So the example in the table here is it won't fire on mummy style sleeping bag because we injected the word style in between mummy and sleeping bag. And again, misspelling, singulars, plurals, stemmings. With the exact match, they have to search for that exact term. The only exception there is, again, misspellings or plurals or whatever. So it wouldn't fire on something like blue mummy sleeping bag or anything else besides mummy sleeping bag in that format, with the exception of the misspellings or the plurals. So hopefully with Kim's excellent explanation between looking at this this table here, you kind of understand what the 3 different match types are. I talked a little bit about campaign structure, but we just have another slide on it here just because down the road, when you start to, especially after you start to expand your Amazon business and launch new products and stuff, it's makes your life much easier if you kind of stick to this naming convention and stick to a campaign structure that's scalable. So watch over my shoulder now as I set up a manual campaign. So again, I'm going to go to Campaign Manager here. I'm going to click on Create Campaign. For this campaign name, again, we'll call it Slumber Manual. And in here, I'm just going to put, we'll say Google Keyword Planner, GKB. So my daily budget, I'm going to set at, we'll set at $20 with no end date. Continue the next step here. For the ad group name, for this first one, we'll set up the exact match keywords. So I'm just going to call this one exact. I'll select my product, which once our sleeping bags are in stock, it'd be our sleeping bags. And then down here, you're going to set a default bid. So during our launch process, when we're trying to be pretty aggressive and trying to get a whole bunch of sales, even if we're losing a little bit of money, I'm going to set this bid at $2, okay? You might think, or £2. I might think, how did I come up with that? Well, I just know that it's like a fairly aggressive bid. If you want to go a little bit higher, then you can. And you'll notice after a few days whether or not you're getting impressions. If you're not getting impressions, then you may need to increase your bid. If you are getting a bunch of impressions, then that bid probably works. So Amazon actually suggests some keywords for you. However, you can use those if you want. You can create an ad group from those. However, they're usually pretty good, but they don't seem to be too good at kind of like thinking outside the box. So we generally do provide your own keywords. And these would be all the keywords that we found during our keyword research that we talked about in session 8. So these would be things like sleeping bag, mummy sleeping bag, whatever, long sleeping bag. And we have a whole bunch of other keywords, obviously, in that of things that are, that refer to it besides sleeping bag. Since I said this was going to be my exact match, I'm going to click on exact. I'm going to add these keywords. And now you can see all these keywords are inside of this particular campaign. Okay. So, by clicking save and finish, I can go ahead and start that campaign. And then what I would do next is I would go and find that campaign. I'm going to click on it here. Now I'm going to create an ad group inside of this campaign. And this one is going to be phrase. And again, I would select my sleeping bag. I'm going to use the same default bid, and I would paste in all those same keywords again. So we're using the same keywords here, but this time I'm going to try phrase. So what it was like sleeping bag, mummy sleeping bag, etc., etc. For match type, I'm choosing phrase. I would add these keywords, save and finish. And then lastly, I would do that one more time. Go back to ad groups. I'm going to create one more ad group. This one is going to be broad. Select the product that I wanted. Again, enter your default bid, and I would copy and paste those same keywords into here again. I'll click on broad, and then I would add those particular keywords. Okay. So after I click save and finish, now I have, in this campaign, I have 3 different ad groups. These are all manual targeting, okay? So this is for my Jungle Slumber sleeping bags. It's a manual campaign. I got these keywords from Google Keyword Planner, and I have a phrase match, exact match, and broad match. So at this point, this campaign would start running, and Amazon would start showing my particular product for these keywords. Okay, something that a few cool little like tricks and hacks that I want to show you guys. If you go in here to keywords, okay, here's something that I like to do. Is what you can do is you can select all your keywords. Now keep in mind, in this list, when we would really do it, we'd have like 100 keywords here, okay? This is a cool little hack that I found out. What I like to do, I started with $2. I could run that for a few days if I wanted, but something that I would actually prefer to do is click this button that says apply suggested bid. So I'm gonna click that. At this point, Amazon's apply the suggested keyword bid to all my products. But since this is a new campaign and I'm trying to be extra aggressive, I know that most people are gonna use the suggested bid in their particular campaigns, and I want to outbid most people right now because like I said, this is a new product. I want to be a little aggressive on trying to get sales early on. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in and click on this button right here, adjust bid. Okay, so I still have all my products selected. I'm gonna click adjust bid, and then you can increase bid by percentage. Okay, so I'm gonna increase all my bids at this point by, we'll say 50%. Okay, and this helps me adjust certain keyword bids accordingly for the relevant keyword. And at this point, I've increased by about 50% compared to what most people are probably bidding at. So that's kind of like a cool little hack that you can use. With that being said, keep in mind that we spoke about the ad auction earlier. The same ad auction applies for manual campaigns. So even if I set this keyword bid right here at $20, I doubt anyone else has a keyword bid set that high. So I'd probably, be charged if the next highest person has like $1, I would be charged like $1.01 or $1.05 or however Amazon deems that. They wouldn't actually charge me my maximum bid. So that's kind of like an important thing to note. So,
hey Greg, I have a question.
Hit me.
How come, so you just set up 3 different ad groups there for 3 different match types for the exact same keywords. What are the benefits of doing that as opposed to putting specific keywords into specific match types?
Yeah, good question. So we don't know right now which keywords are going to perform best with which particular match types. We could probably make some educated guesses, like very short generic keywords would probably perform better with broad type as opposed to exact match, because most people probably don't search for just like bags, right? They'll probably search for like sleeping bags. So we could probably make some educated guesses, but what's easier, in my opinion, is just to let Amazon do that research for you. Yeah, you're going to pay a little bit of money in those clicks, but after a week or two, then you have real data from Amazon and it's showing you which keywords are performing well with which particular match types.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to switch back over to the slides. We have a few more slides I want to make sure that we see and talk about. And then if we have a little bit of extra time at the end, I'm going to dive into the PPC campaigns a little bit deeper and show you the search term report and kind of the information that we can get out of it. All right, so you can of course set your budget for whatever you think is best. What we recommend here for someone just starting out is I'd probably do like 10 pounds per day for auto campaign, 20 pounds a day for a manual campaign. We kind of spoke about earlier about like the suggested bids. Those are rough guidelines. They seem to be pretty good, but don't take them as a hard rule, more so like guidelines. Something else that I kind of forgot to mention that's noted here is that Amazon seems to prefer exact or phrase match keywords over broad match keywords. So they prefer exact over phrase and phrase over broad. So it's probably best to bid a little bit higher on your exact match than your phrase and a little bit higher on your phrase than your broad, because you're probably more likely to win that ad auction if that's like your highest bid as well as the most exact I shouldn't say exact, but like the most, yeah, whatever, you get the idea. Like the most exact phrase for that particular, or exact keyword for that particular product. Kim, tell us a little bit about the advertising cost of sale. You're being quiet over there. I'm doing all the talking.
Okay, so I'm much better with words than I am with numbers. And at first, like this concept was like, oh, that's kind of scary. But when you break it down, it's not too difficult to get a grasp of. And it's actually really important to figure this out before you start your campaigns, because you really need to have a really strong understanding of when your ads are being profitable. So advertising cost of sale, or ACOS for short, is how we determine the return on investment, or ROI, that sometimes gets called for short. And it's calculated by dividing your PPC costs by the sales generated from your PPC. So this is a really crude example. If you spend £10 on PPC, or if I spend that on my Jungle Slumber sleeping bags, and I get £100 of sales, which are directly attributed to those ads, then the ACOS would be 10%. And then the key really is to find out where you break even. And particularly when you're just launching, you're probably, like Greg said, you're going to want to be a little bit more aggressive to win more clicks and win more sales. But you at least need to know where you break even. So that means where you get to the point where you've spent like all of your profit margin on winning the sale, at which point you would break even. And if you spend anything above that, then you're kind of eating into your profits.
Or yeah, I guess at that point you're right. Not even eating into your profits, but you'd be losing money on that particular one,
well,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so Kim put some good examples of how to calculate your ACOS break-even point here. And another good example here. I'll let you go over this, Kim.
Yep. Okay. So, and I think I've done this the right way around. So I've kind of put an example for the US. So this is the one we used for the last products that we launched, where your break-even ACOS is 1 minus, and then so you're looking at the landed cost of goods, which you should already know and have a strong understanding of, plus FBA fees divided by retail price. Whereas in Europe, obviously, your retail price is inclusive of VAT, or VAT. So in this instance, I've done divided by the subtotal. So the subtotal is just your retail price less the VAT that you will have calculated in your profit calculations. And then there's an example there at the bottom for Jungle Slumber with the retail price at $26.99. So the subtotal is $22.49 because the VAT is £4.50. The landed cost of goods is £8.45, and the FBA fees are £6.14. So that would mean if I'm selling the product at $26.99, my break-even ACOS would be 35%.
Yep. So then just to clarify on that, if our ACOS was higher than 35%, we'd be losing a little bit of money on each sale. If our ACOS is below 35%, so 20 or 25 or 30%, then we're still making a little bit of money on that sale, even though we had to spend some on PPC. During the launch phase, so this is like the first month of this product's life, I think we're willing to lose money on every sale for the first month, or at least, lose money on every PPC sale, because we know from those sales that we're gaining sales velocity, which increases our rank. We're also gaining sales, which may result in a review. And these are all things that are important for us, or things that we need in order to get this listing started on Amazon. So oftentimes during the launch process, I'm okay with an ACOS of up to like 100%, even though, I understand that with each one of those sales, I'm losing money. But from that, like we said, I'm gaining better organic ranking, which results in more organic sales. I'm also collecting data, what customers are searching for. So for that first month or so, we're willing to lose money as marketing costs, and this is part of it, in exchange for a listing that's going to last a long time, that's going to make us, a lot of money for years to come, as well as the data that we get from Amazon. Kim put together a nice ACOS calculator, so you guys don't have to actually do this math. She will give you a link for it coming up in your homework, but it's an easy way to find out your break-even ACOS with different pricing, because your pricing's kind of subject to change. So in a later session, we may have a few minutes to go over a few of these things real quickly, a few of the more important things. But we're going to do a later session where we cover this stuff in more detail. We're going to be talking about kind of like deep diving into the search term report, getting keywords from your auto campaigns and putting them into the manual campaigns, setting up negative keywords in automatic or manual campaigns. Yeah, and more so just about optimizing it kind of like after we've gotten it set up. Kim, why don't you give everyone your homework real quickly, and then since we do have a few minutes left, we're not quite at the hour mark yet, I'll at least show the search term report because I feel like it's an important one.
Awesome. Yep. So your homework for this week is to get started with your Amazon PPC. So if you're going to use it as part of your launch strategy like we are, then ideally you want to be thinking about that whilst your inventory is on the way into the fulfillment center. First, set up your auto campaign, let it run for a few weeks, and create a manual campaign alongside that using your keyword research. And like Greg said, in this week's download, you can get a really handy calculator just so that you can do those break-even calculations super quickly at different price points.
All right, guys, so let me show you real quick, since we do have a few extra minutes, on how to download the search term report and kind of like how valuable it is for you. So if you go back into the campaign manager, up here on the top right-hand side above the date, it says add reports. So I can click on add reports. I'm then going to click on this kind of a top tab in the middle. It says search term report. So I'm going to click on that. If you don't see any reports down here, what you can do is you can click request report. I have a bunch, so I'm just going to download one of these. You'll then see that and you just save it. And that will pop up. You can see it pop up in the bottom left-hand side of my screen. Then what I want to do is I want to go into Google Sheets. If you're not familiar with Google Sheets, it's just like something like Microsoft Excel. What I can do is open a spreadsheet here. All right, you can title it accordingly. And then what I want to do is, as soon as it will load, instead of clicking open, I'm going to click import from the file menu. And this is kind of an important thing because this file is actually a TXT file instead of like a CSV or a Microsoft Excel file. So it's a little bit difficult to work with if you don't import it correctly. So Amazon doesn't make it easy for us. They just give us all of this text kind of just in a straight up text file. But we want to move this into a spreadsheet where we can easily kind of work with and manipulate the data, okay? So as you can see now, this has all been imported into Google Sheets. It just takes a second. And if you use that import function, Google does a really good job about automatically putting what should be in rows and columns into that. They, without having to do any manipulation of the data, they were able to put all of that text file into rows and columns, which is obviously really nice. We don't have quite enough time for me to get into this too deeply, but let me just show you a few basic things real quickly, right? The first thing I always do is I select the first row, then I click on the data tab and I click on filter. What this does is this allows me to be able to easily filter or kind of like manipulate the data. So now what I can do is I can select, like this match type. And if I want, I could turn off all broad, or I could turn off all exact or phrase or whatever else. Same thing with the campaign names. I have a whole bunch of different campaigns here, but let's say that I'm only interested in looking at the Jungle Sticks ones and not the Jungle Snugs. Well, in that case, I could turn off all these Jungle Snugs ones, and it would only show me the ones that are relevant for my Jungle Sticks products. One thing to note here, guys, I am, using my US Seller Central account here. That's because, the UK one obviously doesn't have any data in it since we haven't set this up, but the platform looks the exact same in the UK or the EU. So all this will be very familiar with you, even though I'm demoing the one from the US here. Okay. So real quickly, let me, one of the really valuable things about this particular report is this column C right here. What this is this is, and I'll zoom in, I think it'll probably help you guys a little. What this is this is the actual search term that the customer typed into the Amazon search bar and ended up seeing your ad for, okay? So this is, probably goes without saying, but this is obviously very useful information for you because you can see what types of things people are searching for when shown your ad. And then more importantly, you can see, what do people search for and then go on to purchase your product, okay? So how I can do that is I can come over here to product sales or orders placed. We'll just do this orders placed, which is column O. I'm going to click the filter drop down here, and I'm going to remove all rows that have not placed at least one order. So I unclicked 0, okay? Now, all of these search terms that are shown here actually resulted in a particular sale. So, even though I call my bamboo marshmallow sticks marshmallow sticks, you can see this top one right here that someone actually searched for hot dog forks and then went on to purchase my particular product, okay? Same thing, like wooden kebab skewers. Again, I always call these things marshmallow sticks, but someone searched for wooden kebab skewers and then went on to buy my jungle sticks. So what I could then do is I could, export this column of data, and then I could import that into a, if these were all gathered from an automatic campaign, I could then import that into a manual campaign and fine tune my particular bids and match types for each keyword to make sure it's the most profitable for me. All right. Another thing I could do here, I've already said only show me the keywords that actually resulted in a sale. But another thing I could do is I could go here and I could sort by my advertising cost of sale, my ACOS. So as you can see, some of these are ridiculously high, 100%, 200%, etc. But then a lot of these, I think for my marshmallow sticks, I think my break-even ACOS is around 33 or 35%. So that means all of these keywords below row 89, these are keywords and bids and match types that are profitable for me, okay? So again, if all of these were gathered out of an automatic campaign, then I could take all of those customer search types and I could put those into a manual campaign. Something that I want to show you guys here, because I know this is always a question, is what's up with this asterisk right here. Actually, let me clear all my filters real quickly. Okay, whoops. Select all. Okay. If I clear all of those filters and then I go back into campaign name and I only clear and I only click on automatic, what you'll see is in this keyword column in column D, there's an asterisk. And what that asterisk means is that shows you that it was a automatic campaign. So remember, we don't input keywords for automatic campaigns. Amazon decides what they think is the most relevant for our particular product. So they decided when someone searched for bamboo sticks to show them this. They also got a few what I would consider wrong, like sterno cans. They showed, I don't even know what sterno cans are, but they showed our marshmallow sticks for this particular product. So we've run out of time here. We like to keep all these under an hour, but as you can see here, once you start to get some data, you could download this search term report, start to play with it and get some of this interesting data out of here. And like we said earlier, we will go into this in more detail in a later session. I just wanted to kind of start to show you this since we had a few extra minutes, and I know people are typically kind of like excited about looking at some of this. So with that being said, Join us next week. If you haven't already done so, we would encourage you guys to register for the $1 Million Case Study at junglescout.com/million to make sure you're notified about all of the upcoming webinars. Kim, is there anything that we're forgetting before we sign off here?
No, that was a really detailed description actually of the search terms report. So thanks for that.
Great.
Yeah, all good.
Cool. Well, I will see you next week, Kim. Guys, if you haven't already done so, smash that like or love button, hit subscribe on YouTube, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.